Hello. Today I'm going to talk about how to study for a career in data science in 2026. So, if you're a beginner or you're someone who is interested to transition to data science, you will find this video, very useful. A lot has changed in the last 10 years, by the way. When I started my career 10, 12 years in the field of data, it was quite different. If you had knowledge of statistics, some basic statistics, you can write SQL code, you can do some data analysis using R programming, then you can start your career in data science. But things have changed quite a bit over the last 10 years. Now the entry barrier is much higher compared to what it was 10, 15 years back. Things have changed quite a bit, and therefore your preparation should there must be different what it used to be in the past. So your preparation should be in line with what are the expectation in the current job market, right? And as you might know, the job market is not necessarily at its best right now, so the competition is quite high. So focusing on things that really matter is very, very crucial. And you don't have to prepare everything, but you do have to prepare things which are really, really important. So zeroing down your focus on a few things, a few important things, is very, very important, right? um, so if you're doing a preparation, I would say, start with the basics. The basics could be understanding of mathematics, linear algebra in particular. Also study advanced calculus, probability, and statistics. So you can find some introductory level books on these chapters and do the courses. You can also go on Khan Academy and learn from there. They have really nice courses on linear algebra, probability, statistics, and other mathematical topics. Right? Spend a couple of weeks, I would say, on this. Foundation is very important. Therefore, I would recommend you to spend some time and not rush. Right? If you have a mathematical background, then it's optional for you because you probably are familiar with these concepts. If you're new to programming, then start with programming. Start with Python. Python is perhaps the popular programming language used in the field of data science, but also there are other programming languages used as well. So Python and SQL, very, very important. Then be familiarize yourself with the different IDEs available, whether it's Jupyter, whether it's Google Colab and all that. Basics, right? So you can finish all these things in few weeks time, and then dive into more advanced topics, right? So you need to study advanced statistics and machine learning, theory as well as applications. Very important to learn theory as well. A lot of people ignore theory completely and dive into applications, especially the new folks, people who are just out of university. They tend to make this mistake. I would advise not to do that. Ensure that you have sufficient knowledge of theory before you dive into applications. So understand regression models, understand the different types of tree models such as boosting, bagging, random forest. Support vector machine is also very important. Understand about the theory behind time series analysis. Very, very important, by the way. Especially if you're going to be working in the field of finance as a data scientist, you will be using time series. Time series very, very much there. So go through the time series course. I do have a course on time series on this particular channel, by the way. If you want to go through, please have a look. Besides machine learning, you must also learn some advanced statistics related to optimizations, simulations, like nonlinear optimizations, Monte Carlo simulations. Good to also learn some survival analysis or different types of regression models. Right. So these are very, very important things to learn before you dive into more advanced stuff such as advanced level machine learning or AI. Some people directly jump into AI without learning regression or a decision tree. I would recommend never to do that. But before even you study machine learning or statistics, advanced statistics such as optimizations or such as boosting and bagging, make sure that you brush up your basic statistic and basic maths knowledge, what we discussed in the first slide. All right. Once you have mastered some areas of machine learning, move to deep learning, neural networks in particular. There are varieties of neural networks, by the way. There are different types of neural networks, uh, single layer neural networks, multi-layer neural networks, and so on. But more than anything, I think it's very important to understand the theory first, right? Don't dive into the applications. Theory can be very intimidating, but good to learn some theory before you dive into automation or applications. Familiarize yourself with some automated tools. There are many available in the market, whether it's from H2O or from AutoClone. Just do some projects, I would say. That's the best thing to do. Generative AI is the hot topic now. It's quite in demand. So good to study generative AI and LLMs. Build some projects. When you show your CV to other people, nobody will ask about what theory you have learned. People will ask about what projects you have done. But in order to do the projects, you need to know some theory. So theory is very important. Don't ignore that. But nobody will give you a job based on your knowledge of theory. People will invite you for an interview only if you are good at building something from scratch. So therefore, it's very important that you have some project experience, like building an app, integrating that with some API and doing prompt engineering, and the variety of things that you could do with AI and the foundation models provided by the big tech firms such as the likes of Microsoft or OpenAI or Google. Right, play around. There's several case studies, by the way, available free of cost on YouTube. Just do a bit of a search on YouTube. You will find many good case studies, many really good applications of LLM in the real world, and how to build agentic AI applications and just build something and put that on your CV. Goes without saying, data engineering skills are as important as your data science skills. Now, you might wonder, why should I learn data engineering as a data scientist? Most data science people spend a lot of time handling data, and that's when your data engineering skills will be extremely important. This was different 10, 15 years back. There were specialist data scientists, especially data engineering folks. But things have changed now. Data science people need to know some data engineering, and data engineering people need to know some data science. So there's a bit of overlap now. So make sure that you have some skills in data engineering. You must understand the ETL framework and the data pipelines, understanding of cloud platforms. Do a course on cloud platform, use of cloud platform, variety of things. For example, if you want to deploy something in production, you want to deploy an AI model, you deploy an ML model, you need to have good understanding of the cloud platform, because that's where you will be deploying your applications. So whether it's AWS, whether it's Azure, there are many good courses on their own sites, but also I think free of cost on YouTube. So just do it and do a project end to end. Also deploy it if you can and put that on your CV. Real projects, as I've said already, way more important than any theory that you learn. Certifications are also secondary, in my view, as compared to real projects. Good if you do certifications, but more than that, make sure that you do real projects, deploy something, and have a GitHub profile and put everything on your CV. Right? Can be many, depending on which industry you like, depending on which industry you want to work in. build some real world use cases. If you want to work in finance, do something on fraud detection or credit scoring. If you want to work in marketing sales, do something on inbound sales. It has to solve some business problem, right? So build something on that. Finance is one great field where you can build many things using AI. So do that. You could also explore Kaggle just to get ideas and to get data sets. Okay, you don't have to be a grandmaster there. I mean, it's good if you become one, but even otherwise, you can find your first job. That shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, specialization. I would say for absolute beginners, specialization is less important, although it is becoming a bit important nowadays. But most companies will not look for specialized skills in beginners. If you're already in a field and want to transition into data science, that's when your specialized knowledge will be important. For instance, if you are someone who has worked in finance for a long time and you want to move to data science from some other field within the field of finance, then your knowledge of finance will be very, very important. And you need to learn data science in such a way that you can be useful in in data science within finance, right? So you have to be very specific. You have to focus on only finance related case studies or projects when you do your preparation. But if you're not sure about which field you will go into, I think specialization is less important. But when you're preparing, make sure that you either specialize in data science with data engineering, your secondary skill, or specializing in data engineering and data science being your secondary skill, right? Some people also want to combine that with software engineering. That's also a good way of thinking about it. For instance, you are a data scientist, but you can also be a software engineer. That means you are a data scientist plus full stack software engineer, right? So find your niche, find which way you want to project yourself as a skilled professional. So, okay, understanding of business, understanding how you do the storytelling. As much as I hate to say, but in the real world, what really matters is your ability to tell a story, right? When you build models, when you build AI agents, if you cannot explain what is the return on investment for a company, your ideas will not be taken very seriously. So, no matter where you work, as a consultant or as an employee of a given company, you will have to sell a story. You have to be able to tell people how your agents will be able to solve the problems, how you will be able to automate things and save cost for the company. All these things will require you to have good knowledge of the domain that you will be working in, good knowledge of the business, challenges faced by the business. So understanding of business is very important. Communication skills, these are quite important things. So your ability to present things in committees and all that will be very, very important. As a beginner, you shouldn't worry too much, I would say, but as you grow in your career, I think it's good to put some emphasis on these skills. Continuous learning is super important, especially if you are very serious about making a career in data science. This is an academic field with uses in the real world. So you have to keep yourself updated with the latest changes happening in this area, and it's changing at a rapid pace. What you learn now probably will be obsolete in 3 4 years time. I have seen this myself. I think this is true in all technical areas where you have to keep yourself updated over time. So make sure that you write, well, you may not write, but you at least read more, whether from blogs, whether from LinkedIn updates, or research paper from ArcXIV. But yeah, it's not always needed. I mean, unless you are working in research areas. But I think reading few blogs, important blogs on Medium on this field, or some following some influencers, good influencers on LinkedIn is very, very important nowadays. You may not like it, but that's becoming important. So how you should go about it is that, first few months just focus on the basics. Next few months learn the advanced things. Whenever you're learning the advanced ML AI, try to build something, right? And finally you do some projects and start sharing these results either through blogs, have your own blog on Medium or any other platform, or just write it on your LinkedIn page. I would say start sharing it, and you do that for another few weeks. So within 6 months time you are job ready. You can start building a good CV and sharing it with potential employers, right? If you can do an internship in the meantime, that's even amazing. That's like cherry on the cake, right? With your studies alongside you are doing something in the real world, that will put yourself in a good position to find a job in the market. All right, thanks guys. Any questions, let me know.